I should have known something was wrong when my sister Patricia showed up to our family dinner at the Olive Garden carrying a hot pink briefcase and wearing a blazer with shoulder pads that could take someone's eye out. She marched straight to our table where I sat with my wife Emma and our parents, slammed the briefcase down between the breadsticks and salad bowls, and announced in a voice that made half the restaurant turn around, "Brandon, you owe me $4,800 for my honeymoon in Santorini, and I'm here to collect with interest. My name is Brandon Fletcher, and I work as an accountant in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm 36 years old, drive a sensible Honda Accord, and my idea of living dangerously is using the medium salsa instead of mild at Chipotle. My sister Patricia, on the other hand, is 39 and describes herself as a lifestyle curator and manifestation coach on social media, though nobody in the family has ever figured out what that actually means. 5 years ago, she had what she called her dream wedding in Greece, and apparently, she's been keeping a grudge and a spreadsheet ever since. Patricia clicked open her briefcase with a dramatic flair of a game show host revealing the grand prize. Inside were color-coded folders, laminated charts, and what looked like a professionally bound document titled Henderson Family Wedding Debt Collection, a comprehensive financial reconciliation. She pulled out a folder with my name on it and slapped it on the table, narrowly missing my plate of chicken Alfredo. "According to my calculations," she said, adjusting her fake designer glasses that I'm pretty sure she bought at the gas station, "you still owe me for your portion of my honeymoon expenses, plus 5 years of compound interest at 12% annually." I nearly choked on my breadstick. "Patricia, your honeymoon was in 2019. It's 2024. And more importantly, why would I owe you money for your honeymoon?" She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out of her head. "Because, Brandon, a wedding is a family investment. Everyone benefits from the joy and memories I created. You were there for the wedding. You ate the food. You danced to the music. And therefore, you're financially responsible for contributing to the complete experience, which includes the honeymoon. My wife, Emma, who has the patience of a saint, but also the backbone of steel, when needed, leaned forward with her lawyer voice activated. "Patricia, that's not how weddings work or honeymoons or basic logic." Patricia whipped around to face her, her teased hair following a half-second behind like a separate entity. "This doesn't concern you, Emma. This is a blood family matter." She turned back to me and tapped the folder aggressively. "I have itemized every single expense. Your share of the helicopter tour of the Calera comes to $340. The couple's massage that I would have gotten if you hadn't stressed me out before the wedding by asking if the venue had a cash bar, $420. My father, who had been silently sawing through his lasagna, finally looked up. "Patricia, this is ridiculous. Nobody pays for someone else's honeymoon." She spun to face him, nearly knocking over a passing waiter with her briefcase. "Oh, but you all paid for Jeremy's college, didn't you? Where was my college fund?" My mother sighed deeply. "Patricia, you dropped out after 1 semester to become a yoga instructor, then quit that to sell essential oils, then quit that to become whatever you are now." Patricia stood up abruptly, her chair screeching against the floor. "This family has always been against my success." "Well, I've consulted with a financial advisor." She paused dramatically. "His name is Keith, and I met him at the gym, and he says I have a legal case for retroactive wedding contributions." She pulled out another document. This one with an official-looking seal that I'm 90% sure she made with a craft store embosser. "This is a formal invoice for wedding-related expenses. If you don't pay within 30 days, I'll be forced to take this to small claims court." The manager, a tired-looking man named Tony, who'd probably seen every type of family drama play out in his restaurant, approached our table. "Is everything all right here?" Patricia wheeled on him. "No, everything is not all right. My family is committing financial fraud by refusing to pay their wedding debts." Tony blinked slowly. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to keep your voice down. You're disturbing other diners." Patricia's face turned an alarming shade of purple. "I am conducting legitimate business. This is America. I have the right to collect money owed to me in a public establishment." She climbed onto her chair, wobbling dangerously in her knockoff designer heels. "Attention, everyone. This man," she pointed at me like I was a criminal in a lineup, "refuses to pay his sister for the beautiful memories she provided him at her destination wedding. He is a wedding thief." The entire restaurant had gone silent, forks suspended midway to mouths, everyone staring at the spectacle. A teenager at a nearby table had his phone out, definitely recording. I could already see the TikTok caption, "Karen loses it at Olive Garden over 5-year-old wedding." Patricia pulled out a stack of what she called collection notices and started throwing them around the restaurant like confetti. "You're all witnesses to this theft of matrimonial joy. He owes me $4,800 plus emotional damages." One of the papers landed in an elderly woman's minister soup. The woman calmly fished it out, read it, and said loudly, "Honey, the only thing your brother owes you is a restraining order." The restaurant erupted in laughter. Patricia's face went from purple to a shade of red I'd previously only seen on fire trucks. She tried to maintain her authority, shouting over the laughter, "I have spreadsheets. I have documentation. I spent $300 on a sunset dinner that you all benefited from." Emotionally, someone from across the restaurant yelled back, "Lady, I spent $40 on this unlimited pasta, and I don't see you offering to chip in." Patricia fumbled with her phone, her fake nails making it difficult to type. "I'm calling my financial advisor right now. Keith will tell you all about wedding law." She put the phone on speaker, and we all heard Keith answer with, "Yo, Patty, what's up? I'm at the gym." She shrieked into the phone, "Keith, tell them about the wedding payment law." There was a long pause, then Keith's confused voice. "What now, Patricia? I sell protein shakes. I'm not a lawyer." The laughter in the restaurant reached a crescendo. Even Tony, the manager, was trying to hide a smile. Patricia's carefully constructed tower of authority crumbled faster than a Nature Valley granola bar. She grabbed her briefcase, sending folders, sliding across the floor, revealing that half of her honeymoon expenses were actually receipts from Home Goods and Target dated last month. "This isn't over," she screamed. "I know my rights. There's a statute of limitations on wedding happiness debt." My dad, still calmly eating his lasagna, looked up and said, "Patricia, the only statute you need to worry about is the one against harassment," Emma added, "and fraud. Definitely fraud." Patricia tried to storm out dramatically, but her heel caught on one of her fallen folders and she stumbled, her briefcase flying open and revealing what looked like hundreds of printed screenshots of Pinterest wedding boards labeled evidence of emotional investment. She recovered somewhat, grabbing as many papers as she could and stuffing them haphazardly back into the briefcase. "You'll be hearing from my collection agency," she shouted as she headed for the door. "Keith knows people." The teenager who'd been filming called out, "Lady, your Keith doesn't even know the law." The entire restaurant applauded as she finally made it to the exit. The next morning, I woke up to 17 Venmo requests from Patricia, each one labeled increasingly desperately wedding debt, honeymoon reimbursement, emotional labor payment, sibling tax, and my personal favorite, Santorini Sunshine fee. I declined them all and sent her a single penny with a note for your thoughts. They're overpriced. 2 weeks later, Patricia actually filed a claim in small claims court. She showed up wearing what I can only describe as her interpretation of legal attire. A bright purple suit she clearly bought from the clearance rack, carrying the same hot pink briefcase and wearing glasses with no lenses. She presented her evidence to Judge Harrison, a no-nonsense woman who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Patricia had created a PowerPoint presentation titled The Brandon Debt, a sister's pursuit of justice, complete with transition effects, and a soundtrack she tried to play from her phone. Judge Harrison listened for exactly 3 minutes before cutting her off. "Miss Henderson, let me get this straight. You want your brother to pay for your honeymoon from 5 years ago because he attended. Your wedding? Patricia nodded enthusiastically. Yes, he consumed the joy. He participated in the memories. He owes me for the experience. The judge removed her glasses and rubbed her temples. That's not how any of this works. That's not how anything works. Patricia pulled out her folder of evidence and started spreading papers across the defendant's table. But I have receipts. I have calculations. I spent $2,000 on a wine tasting tour that created family memories he'll have forever. The judge looked at the receipts. These are from a liquor store in Des Moines dated last Tuesday. Patricia's face went red. Those are supporting documents. Judge Harrison had heard enough. She not only dismissed the case, but ordered Patricia to pay my legal fees of $800 and issued a formal warning about frivolous litigation. Patricia screamed, "This is a conspiracy against wedding happiness." The judge's response was swift. "If you file anything like this again, you'll be held in contempt of court and face up to a $5,000 fine and possible jail time." Patricia stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish, her purple suit deflating like a punctured balloon. The bailiff escorted her out as she muttered about appealing to the Supreme Court of Justice, which he seemed to think was a real thing. The judge's final words were, "Miss Henderson, you are hereby ordered to pay the defendant's legal fees within 30 days. Case dismissed." The gavel came down with a satisfying crack, and Patricia let out a wail that could probably be heard in the next county. $800 in legal fees plus court costs of $250. She'd played herself, and the price tag was $150.